I think it's recording now. Okay, go ahead. Start from the
Okay.
top again.
I'm the head of the Scholarship Committee for Women Painters West. And as most of you know, as part of our philanthropic mission, each year we visit an art school and give scholarship awards to students. The past several years, we've been going to Otis, College of Art and Design. We appreciate the dedication of the students, the high quality of their work, and the ease that we have in working with the department heads. So I would like to thank, she and he aren't on here, but Meg Cranston and Alex Slade of Otis, and the students who organized the work in person like an exhibition, which made our job of choosing go more smoothly. It was really great to walk into this room and feel like you were walking into a gallery show. The students did a really great job of setting it up for us. And then it's a challenge for us to narrow down the award recipients when there's so much good work to choose from. So the scholarship committee is made up of the current and past presidents of Women Painters West. We work together as a team to choose awards. Thank you to the following members of our committee who participated this year. They are Arlene Weinstock, Lynn Goodall, Diane Carpel, and June Phelps. This year we chose 5 students to receive awards, and I'm happy to share my screen with you now. And let's see. My only problem is I don't see a share screen button on my thing. Did you make me co-host?
Jasmine is here,
Yeah.
Nancy.
Yes,
but
I did.
Look
Okay.
at the bottom.
Yeah, you're
Yep,
co-host.
it should be. Okay, I see. Okay. Okay, can you see?
Yes.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, great. Okay. Is Egypt here yet? Anybody
No,
know?
but Jasmine is.
All right, well, Egypt is the first one up. Egypt has won a Brenda Bag Award for Excellence in Water Media. And this is given by Mr. Gerald Bagg. I think he's on here. I see something with AI, and I'm not sure what that means. But anyway, Mr. Gerald Bagg has supported this award for many years in memory of his late wife, Brenda Bagg, who was a highly accomplished watercolor artist. We appreciate his ongoing and truly, truly above and beyond support, and we thank him for sponsoring the award. And if you're there, Mr. Bagg, thank you again. And I will show the images. Okay, there are 3 images. First, and our award recipients are invited to speak, but I don't think Egypt is here. Am I correct? Okay.
Yes, not yet.
Okay, so I'm going to move on. And the next award is for Cassidy Heidemann. It's the Barbara Frankel Award. Barbara Frankel was the head of the scholarship committee for 30 years, and when she retired, she gifted Women Painters West with support for scholarship funds in her name. And I have 3 images here for her also. Okay, this is the first one. And here they are together. And Cassidy is here. So Cassidy, would you like to say something about your work?
Thank you so much for this honor. It really means a lot to be recognized in a community of women artists and such talented artists in LA. Especially while I'm still just developing my practice here at Otis College of Art and Design. Um, I'm really grateful to be able to speak with you guys. A lot of my work explores light and how it can carry a deeper emotional or historical meaning underneath the surface. I'm especially interested in relationships between architecture, stained glass, and how environments shape memory, ritual, identity, and even psychological experience. Um, I have like artist statements for the one on the right, the one that's the Tiffany stained glass windows, and then I have an artist statement for the one on the bottom. Did, can I read those?
I'd like to hear it.
Sure. Yes, please do.
Okay, right on. So the first one is the Tiffany stained glass windows. And I wrote, in the Lewis Comfort Tiffany studio windows designed by Agnes Northrup of the Tiffany Girls, transforming gardens into light, working in rare spaces of inclusion, like Celtic Irish church windows where images spoke before literacy, this painting traces a name through choreographed bodies, recalling medieval manuscripts and Bosch. The body becomes a vessel for ritual, movement, and language across cultures, abilities, and histories. And I just looked at Lewis Comfort Tiffany stained glass book, and then Haramis Bosch book for a lot of like the body choreography. And then I just spelt my name out using a body because a lot of the times when people were interpreting stained glass or old like medieval manuscripts, they didn't really know how to actually read. So I thought it'd be kind of funny to like play like a joke and like use your body to like kind of spell out your name so that my name didn't get erased in time, kind of like the Tiffany girls did. So I was like just kind of playing on that. And then for the one on the bottom left, this is called the Yellow Room. And this one is inspired by a little bit of stuff that I was reading and a couple movies I was watching. I wrote in Safe, 1995, Julian Moore's character slowly becomes ill within the polished calm of suburban life, echoing the yellow wallpaper, 1892, and how both reveal the quiet suffocation of psychological isolation hidden beneath domestic perfection, questioning how much of wellness is real and how much is performative. In this one, I was looking at like a lot of like Motorola ads from the like 50s and 60s. And that's kind of it.
Fabulous, Cassidy. Your work is beautiful, and your explanations and statements are wonderful to go along with them. And you have our huge congratulations. And thank you for your participation. Best of luck to you.
Nancy, I see that Egypt has joined us now.
Okay, Egypt, are you here?
Hi, yes, I am.
Okay, we have already gone over your award, but I'm going to go back up. Okay.
Okay.
And okay, so I showed your three pieces. And would you like to say something about them?
Yes. So these three pieces I've done within the last year. The upper left is a piece about family dynamics and the expectations of women, of daughters. It's called My Father's Daughter. Um, and it's about the relationship between parents and what they expect of their children versus what their children actually become and do and how they are. Um, so that's a family portrait I used as reference of my father and I. It's acrylic and wood on canvas. I use like assemblage in like very subtle ways in my work to kind of pull the viewer in, especially like when you see pieces in person. There's like usually some piece that like sits on top of the canvas or some sort of piece that comes out towards you to pull the viewer in closer and like evoke intimacy in the work. The one on the bottom is called Playing in the Dark. And I was inspired by a bunch of Caravaggio paintings that I saw after doing a painting workshop in Rome a few years ago. And I wanted to kind of create a piece that felt very heavy and like very emotionally deep and made people kind of uh, feel the weight pressing on the figure. And that one is oil on canvas. And then the one to the right is Birmingham at 1:08 a.m. It's from a portrait of a friend of mine in Birmingham, Alabama. In what they call it, the color tunnel. It's like a freeway underpass. But it has like these color changing lights. So we went there like early in the morning to specifically get like a rainbow sequence to take photos, and I used it as reference to for this painting. I wanted to kind of show the layers and kind of create depth through showing each layer of the painting. So you can see all the way from like the base layer, which is spray paint, to the sketching and drawing of the architectural surfaces in pencil, and then oil on top of that, and then acrylic in between. Yeah.
Thank you very much. They're gorgeous.
Thank you.
And you won the Water Media Award. I know one of your pieces is oil, but the others have a water media in them.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you. And I'm going to move on. We've got three more that are Women Painters West Awards. So Jasmine Luna, Women Painters West Award. And here are your two pieces. They are drawings on raw canvas, ballpoint pen. Here's the first one, second one, both of them together. Jasmine, is Jasmine here now?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, do you want to say anything about these?
Yes, I would love to. I want to
Okay,
say thank you for this
sure.
opportunity. I'm so excited to be a part of all of this and so many amazing artists along with me. A lot of my work has to do with my family, particularly the larger birthday piece is referenced from my mom's first birthday. I grew up from a family of primarily women, and I was raised by a large family of women. And a lot of my work delves into the domestic ideals of like Hispanic women and the traditions that they hold within Mexican culture. So I kind of wanted to highlight one, my mother as a young child, but also highlighting my grandmother, who's also in that portrait because she became a mother at a very young age and sacrificed a lot of her adolescence to become a mother and raise a child as a child. So that was more of a highlight to the two most important people in my life. And for the pinup, it's a reference to Earl Elfgreen's Glamour Girls from the 1940s and 50s. And I was really interested in the concept of the pinup and how this imagery of women was created in a very misogynistic time, but utilizing this idea of like fantasy around the female form and kind of going into the ideas of how fantasy and myth are wrapped up into the ideas of women and the pressures that we are put on from like a patriarchal society. So that was just kind of like my relationship with diving into the idea of what the expectations and fantasy that are put onto us as women, but also tying in the idea of like the Virgin Mary and this idea of Mexican culture and the iconography that comes with that, and how within Mexican culture, the Virgin Mary and La Virgen de Guadalupe isn't necessarily used within a religious context. It's become more of like a form of pop culture, and it's been intertwined within the culture outside of religion, religious views. So I kind of wanted to tie in the two and have those conversations of fantasy, but also just like having the juxtaposition of these very two different cultures of like the Americana and the Chicana culture and coming together as one.
Beautiful. Thank you. And the drawings are wonderful. We really enjoyed them.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And congratulations to you. Okay, we have another.
Nancy, can I make a comment?
Yes, go ahead.
Having seen these live, Jasmine, would you tell us the size of these pieces?
Yeah, so the big
I
one,
have the sizes here.
Right.
Yeah,
oh yeah, there it goes. Yeah,
they're large.
they're quite large. Birthday is 60 by 72, and then the other one I believe is about like, yeah, 87 by 44. So they're quite large pieces.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
All right, our next award is Peter. Is it Cepeda, Peter?
It's Cepeda, correct, yes.
Okay, and you have won a Women Painters West Award. And here is your wonderful portrait. And I just want to say, I believe that the frame is part of the painting, isn't it?
That's correct. The frame is
Yes,
painted as
okay.
well.
Okay, you're on.
Awesome. I just want to start off by saying thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm extremely grateful to receive this award, to even be able to have the opportunity to enter a competition along my fellow students like this. Like your guys' work right before mine, Jasmine, Egypt, all you guys have amazing work. So I'm honored to be amongst you guys. But yeah, this portrait right here, has been recently my interest in portrait work in general. I've been painting for a long time, mainly in acrylic painting, as well as spray paint, and that kind of informs um a lot of just my own personal narratives of growing up and the things that I'm kind of into. And I paint a lot from where I'm trying to, at least now, paint a lot from, personal stories and feelings in general. And this painting here is of my friend Diamond. And it also alludes to a lot of notions of photography. Apart from just painting, I'm in love with just image making as a whole. And so this painting kind of speaks to that. And with this image right here, this is my friend Diamond right before one of my friend's show that he went. He's a musical artist. So one of his performances, my photographer friend Finn staged this photo for me for a painting reference. And then I went and embellished it with these frames. And these frames have been another overarching narrative between my paintings where it's kind of a critique and a tool that's used to reframe what's important, what holds value and stuff. Um, go into those notions, but more specifically, the fact that I get to paint it, I get to say what goes where with the frame, and also what's inside the frame. Um, so yeah, there were some other paintings within this series that match the vibe that I'm quite thrilled on, but this specifically one really is close to home, especially because of my friend. And he has not seen the painting yet, so I'm hoping he comes see it this Saturday, which is the Otis exhibition. Um, and yeah, I just want to say thank you yet again.
Congratulations. That should be really special when he comes to see it. That would be a surprise and lots of fun.
100%.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Okay, and our last award, but not least, Layla, is it Saif?
Saif?
Safe. Okay. And this is Layla's painting called Stork. And you're on, Layla.
Hi, yes, thank you so much for this. I'll make it a little bit quick, but I really want to talk about technique in this one because I mainly focused on that throughout this whole process, and kind of working with pencil and acrylic paint. I've been having a hard time trying to mesh the two, but I think with this one, I finally was able to get the pencil to help me with the process instead of like work against it. I mainly really wanted to focus on intentionality and like for example, like instead of using white acrylic paint, I discarded that and decided to use gesso, and that made it feel more like matte and blurry. And also mixing all the colors that you see on the canvas instead of getting colors just straight from the tube. Um, that was pretty much, it. Oh, and changing the brush's orientation when I decide to pick a new color to add onto it. Also, this was originally upside down. I like to change the canvas's orientation around, sit up, and try to like figure out what I'd like to put in the center, and that's kind of how I came up with the stork in the middle. As I was working with the process and I turned it in this direction, um, I a stork just kind of like came to my mind and how to like guide the painting and make like a centerpiece for it. Um, so it's very just more like process like to get to an ending.
Well, it's fabulous, and we loved it in person and love it here up on the screen. And I have to say, you guys, you're also absolutely awesome and sophisticated. Just, I wish you all the best and congratulations to all of you. Now, after I quit sharing my screen, we do have a guest speaker, and if you guys have the time, you're welcome to stay and watch it. I don't, if you have other things to do, whatever you would like, but you are invited to stay if you would like. And thank you all.
Thank you very much, Nancy.
I
Thank you.
tried to, did I stop my share?
Yes, you did.
Okay, because I still
Okay, so
see it up, but
okay. Okay, I'll take
Thank you
you
again.
out of co-host, and now I'm going to make co-host for our speaker. And Hannah, I'm going to leave the introduction, your introduction to Annie.
Okay.
Oh, yes, it's my turn. Okay.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Hannah, to come to speak to us. We are very honored. So Hannah is a curator, art advisor, founder of Sloan Projects, uh, to highlight the work of women artists in LA. So we are very happy to have you. And I met her at Bergamot Station. She was doing um, a round of galleries, not all of them, a few of them that she selected, and encourage everyone here to go to one of her tour because it's so interesting, and she knows a lot about art, so that's what we love. Okay, so I'm not going to speak more because she's better than myself to speak about herself, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Annie, and thank you for inviting me today. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you
Yes,
fine,
very well.
thank you.
And thank you, Jenny, for your technical help. I'm actually not in Los Angeles right now. I'm in New York City. I'm here for Freeze Week, and my neck hurts and I'm tired because I've been to many art previews over the last 48 hours. So I just got back from Independent and a second round at Freeze with 2 clients. And it's been a whirlwind and very exciting, but that's part of my practice that I'll share about as I share a little bit about my background in my curatorial and advisory practice. I'm going to share my presentation screen now. If you'd like to ask questions during my presentation, please unmute yourself and ask, but then kindly mute yourself again. Can you see this presentation screen okay?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Yes,
Okay,
very much.
so I started with this slide because which says curation, advisory, and community, and this is actually me leading a talk that Annie was talking about. I do these tours at Bergamot Station Arts Center about 3 or 4 times a year, and these are free and open to the public. I'm paid by the City of Santa Monica and the Bergamot Tenants Association to really encourage people to come to see a lot of art in various galleries, but also receive some context and some history and some stories behind what you're seeing. I'm actually doing one on Saturday. Let me see how I move through this. Okay, so I put the flyer here. This Saturday, I have 2 tours coming up, one at 12 o'clock and one at 2:30. They are at capacity, but if anyone wants to join me, I'll squeeze a few of you in. And at the end of this presentation, I'll show you my email, and you can email me and let me know you'd like to attend. I sort of wanted to start my presentation with the artist Graciela Iturbide. She is a prominent Mexican photographer. She was born in the late 1930s. She's still around. She has a major retrospective right now at SF MoMA of her photographic work. And my relationship with Graciela really became the foundation of a lot of my practice as a curator, as an advisor, as someone who works with artists. She's very important to me. This is a self-portrait of her on the left with the fish in front of her mouth. She was a protege of Manuel Alvarez Bravo, considered one of Mexico's most important modernist photographers. And she often included some serial aspects into her photographic practice. So she would photograph herself with different objects that were unusual, like this fish. On the right is a beautiful image that she did of 2 young girls called La Ascensión, the Ascension, in Mexico in 1984. I chose to talk about her a little bit because when I was starting in my career in 2004, I was the director at a gallery some of you know called Rose Gallery in Santa Monica, and our focus was photography. It was my great luck that my boss sent me to Mexico City to meet Graciela and look at her archive with her in 2005. It was one of the highlights of my entire life. She lives in an incredible house in Coyoacan, Mexico, one of the old parts of Mexico City, in a home that her son, who's an architect, built for her. And I got to go through decades of material with Graciela and look at all of these incredible black and white prints. A lot of the prints that I got to look at were like these. These are from a series called The Goat's Dance that she was shooting in 1984 and to the early 1990s. This was a matriarchal society that Graciela was documenting. She started actually in the 70s and documented them year after year. And over that time period with Graciela, I got to bring about 48 of these prints back to the United States with me, and they ended up on view at the Getty Museum in a show called The Goat's Dance that ran from the end of 2007 to 2008. It was the first solo show by a women artist at the Getty Museum and one of their blockbusters at the Getty Center of Photography. I learned a lot from this experience. The first one was that relationships really matter to my curatorial practice. Spending time with an artist in their space really matters. Seeing how they work, looking through things that are old until the present day is really critical to what I do most of the time. I worked for Rose Gallery for 12 years, but at the same time, I was sort of itching to curate my own shows in my own way. I saw this incredible installation at the Mattress Factory in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, one of my all-time favorite places to see installation art. I encourage everyone to make a visit to Pittsburgh to see this space. In 2006, I saw this beautiful piece by Jason Peters that was so magical and mesmerizing, but made out of simple utilitarian buckets and light. And I thought, I love when an artist can take something that we use every day and transform it into an experience. So I was lucky enough to convince Jason to come to Los Angeles and make an installation similar to the one I had seen at the Mattress Factory. This was also a pivotal moment in my curatorial thinking because I decided to raise money to make this happen. And I was pretty young. I was in my late 20s, and it was a big leap of faith for me. But I gave the artist a significant grant at the time to come to LA, and he installed this piece, which was very large, in the Robert Berman Gallery, which was at the time at Bergamot Station, in a building that is no longer in existence because of the metro line. And you can see on the left the scale of the piece. That's the artist there standing among these buckets. We blackened out the space so that when you walked in, you kind of felt like you were in infinity, but in this Mobius strip made out of utilitarian buckets and light inside. I thought it was just beautiful and mesmerizing. In 2015, I opened my own space. So this was at Bergamot Station for 3 years in the B building between Leah Skidmore Gallery and Richard Heller Gallery. It was called Sloan Projects. And when I started, I really wanted to step away from showing photography. I had shown photography at Rose Gallery for 12 years and I was feeling a little stuck with it. So I really wanted to open up my programming and start to show painters and collage artists and people working in any medium but photography. I also used it as an opportunity to show exclusively women artists who I felt at the time were not getting enough opportunity in the LA gallery scene to be shown as much as men. So I just said, okay, all women, any medium, but I also based in LA so that it was had a kind of a regional sensibility. My first show opened in March of 2015 with two artists, Melinda Gibson and Claudia Parducci, whose work you see on the right. You'll notice about me, if you get to know me and my work, that I love big painting and I love loose, watery painting. It's something that consistently attracts me. Claudia uses these very light acrylic washes on large canvas. I think this piece is about 80 by 80 inches, and she uses a lot of open white negative space to kind of convey this scene of destruction. I think this image was came from a reference after a tsunami. I've loved Claudia's work for many, many years. This was another painter that I showed and love, Rebecca Puga. She's originally from Chile. She's now a professor at UCLA and has been for quite a while. Again, you can see I love this kind of loose architectural paintings. Rebecca often creates scenes from her memory. She likes to create real places that she's visited or thinks about. There's you can see a structure in the back of the one on the right. These bowl forms are like they're actually basketball nets that she would see when she would watch basketball games near her home, guys playing basketball. But she translates all of these forms specifically through her memory. She doesn't use photographs or books, or she doesn't go out and make sketches. This is about the canvas and the paint and what she can bring to it just by remembering a circumstance or a place. I wanted to share this also because my program has always been very experimental. I love showing lots of different things and mediums in different ways. And this was an artist named Ali Amali, and we actually got a public grant to do a projection at Bergamot Station when the train opened up. So during the first hours of the expo line coming to Bergamot Station at night, people could see this incredible projection by Alia on the back wall. It was a loop called, I can't actually remember the name, I apologize, but this was a really fun project. This was in 2016. This was another show I did in my space at Bergamot Station. It was a very small space, but I liked to be experimental with the installation. Laura Foreman was for many years the assistant to Mike Kelly. She was a draftsperson for him, and she often made many of his installations for him. She's also an incredible sculptor. So this was a show of all pastel works on the walls. Incredible, incredible technique. And in the middle was a special technique that of carving with foam that she invented. Oops. Okay. I love ceramics. So from time to time, you will see me do a major ceramic exhibition with as many ceramic artists as I can put together. This one was in 2023 and 2024 at Craig Kroll Gallery. Also at Bergamot Station, it was called Raw Material. On the ping pong table there in the front, you can see stoneware pieces by Brittany Mojo, one of my favorite ceramists based in Los Angeles. She got her MFA at Cal, Cal State Long Beach, excuse me. On the wall behind her is her partner, Chris Miller, also an incredible ceramist. So you'll see ceramics a lot in what I curate. Now this I put in because it's Costa Rica, a place that has become incredibly important to me in how I think about the world and about art and artists. From in 2021, I started visiting Costa Rica, where my father had lived for 26 years, and I just fell in love with everything about the country. I feel different when I'm there. I feel energized. It's a different kind of energy. I explore the country. And as a curator and a curious person, the way I get to know a country is by going to artist studios. So I put this together. I have been to so many artist studios in Costa Rica, I have lost count. It's probably over 40 at this point. Um, Costa Rica is a very underrated contemporary art scene. And so people there are very hungry for curators based in the United States to come and look at their work. So I've been extremely lucky over the last 5 years to meet as many artists as I can. Yeah, do we have a question? Nope. Okay. So this is me with some of the artists. This is from the upper left. This is Irene Calderon, a great young painter. Priscila Romero Cubero, sort of a conceptual artist. Mimi and Sue, a conceptual artist. We have a designer. Down at the bottom is one of Costa Rica's most famous painters, Adrián Arguedas, and who will have a show coming up this year in Los Angeles. And on the right is a really fun installation artist named LaChoya Jackson, who is a performer and transgender artist. All of those experiences led me to curating what I think is my most important show in Los Angeles in 2024 called Seguimos. And this was Seguimos in roughly translated into English from Spanish is we continue or we keep going. And it's about the persistence of the artist, the persistence that an artist needs to survive in the world, but also in a country like Costa Rica and Central America. It's much harder, I think, to get by as an artist because there's really not an art market per se. So Seguimos is about this kind of resolve that an artist needs to have to live their life creatively in that country. And so this was the debut of 13 Costa Rican artists at Craig Kroll Gallery, organized as a big group show. And I'm just going to take you through very quickly some of the installation shots. This was Adrián Arguedas's incredible print work. This was a wonderful installation by a young video artist named Lucia Howell. On the back are paintings that I'll show you a close-up of. More video and installation you'll see. It was really fun, and I integrated all of the artists within the environment instead of dividing them. Their work kind of flowed from space to space, and a lot of it was integrated. On the right is one of Costa Rica's most highly esteemed painters, Alina Gonzalez, who's been working since the 1970s. Another painter you might enjoy on the left, very young painter named Isaac Loria. He is having a solo show at Craig Kroll Gallery this fall. It will be his debut in the United States. And in that back room, you can sort of peek an installation of paintings by Allegra Pacheco. Here you can see them a little better. She likes to paint boxers in motion, but I wanted to give you a sense of her scale before I show those up close. She takes stills from videos of boxing matches and makes these incredible oil paintings on canvas that are so small they kind of feel like votives. And she's talking a little bit about machismo in Latin America, and also as a woman approaching a subject as masculine as boxing, it feels a little bit subversive to her. Um, I'm happy to say that these paintings went on from my exhibition to a show called Strike Fast, Dance Lightly at the Norton Museum of Art in West Palm Beach, Florida, last year, and are in the catalog for that exhibition. This is another really interesting painter in Costa Rica named Christian Weldel, who now works out of Mexico City. His palette is really unique. He likes to talk about the combination of human and animal and plant form in his work, and you'll often see that he uses sort of a monochromatic, really jungle-inspired palette in these whimsical forms. This is a large canvas by Isaac Loria, who lives on the Pacific coast of Costa Rica in a very, very rural setting. One thing I'll mention that I love doing is if any of you are on Instagram, I host an Instagram live series where I actually do walkthroughs of Costa Rican artist studios. So Isaac Loria was one of the most interesting ones because his studio is in his grandfather's old barn on a very rustic piece of property on a farm near the Pacific coast. And Isaac again will be having a solo show at Craig Kroll Gallery opening in November. And I was just really drawn to his mark making and his touch on the canvas and this sort of realism but abstraction in his landscapes. And these are all done on his property. This is another fun installation. As a curator, I like to make some interesting design choices with my work. This was a show at the end of 2025 and the beginning of this year called Sex Objects. And I wanted to invite artists to talk about the subject of sex before the invention of the internet. So everything was very tactile and object oriented. One of my favorite pieces in this show was by Jean Lau. She's a Southern California artist and painter. She used to be represented by Rosamund Felsen Gallery, one of my all-time favorite galleries in Los Angeles. And so for our show, Jean created this life-size magazine stand. These are all painted physical objects. They're paper mache magazines. And she's kind of stylized old Playboy and Hustler magazines in a very loose painterly style. I love her work, and I'll show you a little bit more of it coming up. She's someone I'm going to continue working with. This is a recent show at my new space. I am now occupying a small gallery space in Mid-City, which I invite you all to come see. It's on San Vicente and Hauser, not far from LACMA. And this was the very first time I ever invited outside curators to work with me. The curators are Bella Marinos and Henry Littleworth, very young artists from Fullerton, 23 and 24 years old. And this incredible piece is by Helena Westra. She is a San Diego-based artist. And she came into the gallery and with wet adobe mud that she and her father had made in San Diego in Encinitas, where she lives. And she brought all of these grasses from Encinitas and they installed it in the space and waited for the adobe to dry. And you could actually walk through this little installation. It was really lovely. This piece also had a soundscape with it of the natural world around where these grasses were sourced. So I love creating environments when possible to give people not only an opportunity to just look at an art object, but to have more of a full sensory experience in whatever I'm curating. This is my current show, William Camargo, All That I Can Carry. He's a very well-known Chicano photographer from Anaheim. His parents are immigrants, and what I have on view right now are primarily photographs and one installation piece. This series was created during the pandemic when William was cleaning out his mother's shed in Anaheim, and he was observing how she had a difficult time letting go of things. And so she wanted to clean and purge and winnow down all of the things in her life, but yet there was this hesitation and desire to hold on to stuff. So he did a series of 4x5 self-portraits of him carrying as much as he could carry, all that I could carry, a phrase that refers to his action in this photograph, but also to his immigrant parents and their story and what it was like coming to the United States in the 1980s. This is an installation in Costa Rica by a young artist named Irina Libertad. She will be my next show at my space in Mid-City, which I just at the moment am calling HannahSloan Curatorial. It's sort of deciding what it wants to become, but I have supported many women artists since 2015, but my program is definitely shifting toward a Central American focus. So Irina will be coming up to Los Angeles in the beginning of June. She'll be invited to be in my space and she'll create an installation. Her practice is about dance and movement, and she likes to bring dance and movement to everyday people. So what you're looking at here are textiles all along the walls of her last show that have sewn instructions for movement or play. And what's on the floor there is sort of a directional line directing people around the space in any way that they would choose to follow it. That's my art curating in a really quick nutshell. I've also been an art advisor for over 10 years privately. What that means basically is that I work with collectors to source works of art for their collections. Most of the people I work with have very serious collections. They collect in depth. They're not looking for decorative pieces, although that can play a role in how they make their decisions. But a lot of them are collecting because it's a real passion and they want to create a really beautiful collection to donate to museum. Joanne Callis is one of my all-time favorite Southern California artists. And this is a vintage triptych of her work from 1982 that I recently placed in a collection in New York. This is one of my favorite conceptual photography projects by Eleanor Antin. In 1970s, she made this, she took 100 boots, which were 50 pairs of boots, on a journey around Southern California and photographed them and sent postcards to all of her friends with the photographs that she made. And it makes an amazing collection. This is in MoMA and SF MoMA and the National Gallery and all of the significant museum spaces in the United States. And I was happy to place this set into a great collection. And then I thought I would talk a little bit as I wrap up about painting that I like. This is Tom Marie Dodge. I love his painting. He is really inspired by music. Um, there's something so joyful about his work. So I've placed quite a number of his paintings into collections. These pieces are quite big. I would say they're probably 70 by 48 or thereabouts. Anytime I have an opportunity to see Tom Marie's work in person, I will. Um, I really, really enjoy when I see work that looks like the artist had a really good time making it, and he's definitely one of those. This is Nick Goss, who is a very successful New York-based artist, and these are some beautiful watercolor works that I placed into a New York collection last year. He works in a really grand scale, but this one was a really nice, intimately sized piece that I found really gorgeous. And lastly, before I wrap up, I wanted to share Jean Lau's recent work. She was the artist who did the magazine stand for my recent show, Sex Objects. Jean has been making these exquisite floral pieces. They're cassine on linen, and sometimes she paints on panel as well. She's inspired by the Dutch Golden Age. There's a painter called Rachel Ruysch, who you may have heard of, who is an influence on this work. But she's also looking at it as a contemporary older woman who lost her nephew recently and thinking about the passing of time and fragility and delicacy of life, but also what would those things look like at a really big scale, and how do you create and hold together the tension of something so delicate at a really large scale. So this is on the right, work in progress, on the left, a finished work. And I'm happy to say I'll be taking Jean and exhibiting her work at a solo booth at Untitled Houston this October. So that's my presentation. Here's my information. If you would like to join me on an art tour, that would be great. These are my Instagram handles, and there's my location in Mid-City where you can join me for an event or come see a show. And I think I'll stop sharing.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Actually, I do have a question. The work by Tom Murray, I think his name was, that you said is towards the end, and you said it was inspired by music. Is that synesthetic paintings from music that he hears?
I don't know if it's synesthetic music, but he is very much about listening to music and painting as an interpretation of that music.
Okay.
I think they're very related. In Los Angeles, you can see his work at Philip Martin Gallery, which is one of my very favorite galleries if you ever want to see great, great painters. He's on Verdugo Road near Eagle Rock, I think, and he represents Tom Marie's work on the West Coast.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? I know we got two screens here, so do the raise your hand thing.
There's a question.
I have a question.
Sure, Nancy, go ahead.
Do you look for new artists? And if you do, how do artists connect with you in that vein?
I'm always open to new artists, but I found that I have to be sort of on a directed mission to want to like go to a studio or to really interact with an artist. If I have an idea and that artist is around and I feel like compelled to go see their work, I will. Otherwise, I do portfolio reviews a couple of times a year at my space. I call it office hours, and people can reach out and sign up for those. And that's another way of connecting. I think also another good way for artists to reach out to me is just shoot me an email or send me their website or something really basic, or show up at an event and introduce themselves.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any last questions? Okay, well, I will say again, thank you so much for a wonderful talk. Hannah. I'm going to stop recording now.
You're welcome.